go. It's a little frisky this morning. Hello everyone and welcome back. This episode is going to be a little bit different. We had that Arctic blast just hit us last night that's supposed to be hitting across the country right now. It's not going to be as bad down here as it is getting hit on the other parts of the country, but it's still pretty dang chilly, and you know what it means when it gets cold? It's time to make menudo. Now I have a small pan, and usually when we make menudo we have a larger pan, and I don't know if this is gonna fit everything. But so for starters, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up this packet. This is beef feet, sliced beef feet. My grandma would love to use this. It's great for the bone broth, for the broth of the menudo, and all that gelatin that comes out. It just makes it delicious. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this open and top it off with water and try to get it going. Now for this, you need to cook it for about an hour and a half before you add anything else to it. So let me go ahead and get started. Give it a quick, oh, that's clean. Give it a quick little rinse. Ooh, yeah. I might have to freeze pack some of this stuff. And I'm only gonna fill this pot up about halfway or so, just so that it has enough water to cover the feet. Now we're gonna go ahead and turn on this to about I'm gonna get it on a high until I start getting it to get a rolling boil. And once I get that the water to start bubbling up, I'm gonna put a lid on it. I'm gonna bring it down to about a medium heat, and covered it with the lid. That way it kind of simmers, or it kind of has a rolling boil to get that meat to start dissolving in a little bit. Now that we got a rolling boil, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down to just enough and let that boil slow down. Well, this has been kind of boiling or simmering for about almost a full hour, and it has released some of this grease or fat on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull some of this out to minimize the fat on it. So here, guys, we're gonna go ahead and give it about another 20 more minutes before we start putting in the meat, the stomach of the menudo. But while we do that, I cut in half an elephant garlic, just one clove. This is a very, very strong smelling garlic. I like it for the strength of the flavor it gives. So I have this cut in half garlic. I'm gonna throw it in here. I'm gonna let it simmer for the next 20 minutes with the feet, the bones of the menudo, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it its initial salt. If we need to add more, I will, but just to get it to start enhancing that flavor. Okay, that's gonna be for starters. Whenever I put in the menudo mix, which is gonna be gehbert, whatever that is. My grandma used to use this a lot, so whenever I add this mix in, and if I need to add more salt, I will add it after adding this mix. So now we're gonna pour this in and let this cook for about an hour and a half together. So I need to add a little bit more water to this pot. I've already diced up the honeycomb. The meat I'm using is a honeycomb part of the meat. It's my favorite texture of the menudo. And what I'm gonna do is, you're never supposed to put cold water into a pot that's hot, because it cools down the cooking process. It slows it down too much, and you're bound to create bacteria from that. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and heat up about half of this pot of water. I'm gonna put the rest of this away for a rainy day. And once this water comes up, heats up, I'm gonna add it to this pot, and just to give it a little bit more broth so I can finish cooking this meat. This part, once I already put this honeycomb in there, it's gonna be about another hour and a half before I continue the last process of it, which is adding the seasoning, adding a little bit more salt to taste, maybe a little bit of pepper, and the hominy. The hominy is the last part, which only takes about 30 minutes to cook. So I just pulled out the piece of garlic. Didn't need to be there much longer. It's already released all its flavors into the broth, and I'm pulling out the feet so I could go ahead and get it all diced up as best as I can, so it doesn't stay in there one big bulky item, or three. Okay, so it still has about 45 minutes to go, maybe a little bit more, maybe almost closer to an hour. It has been simmering for about 43 minutes with the meat itself, but it hasn't been simmering long. So I might give it another hour and test the meat to see how soft it is, and if it's soft enough, that's when I'm gonna go ahead and put the seasoning and the hominy. Alrighty guys, I'm just a few minutes shy of the hour and a half. I have taste tested one of the pieces of meat a little bit earlier, and it was already getting kind of soft. So at this point, the water did come down, so I'm good to throw in the hominy. So let me grab the hominy, open it up, and pour this down in there without the juices. Now the hominy I'm using is Bush's Best, the white hominy. The last two parts is the hominy, and it is also the seasoning, the menudo mix. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pour little by little until I get to the color that I like, the thickness of the broth itself. So I'm going to start with a good nice chunk of it. Okay, and the broth still looks a little bit too light, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in some more. It's going to be about half of this bottle itself. Okay, now the color it's gotten to where more or less I want to have it, but I think I am going to give it a little bit more and give it a quick little taste test before I add any salt. Okay, now I'm going to test it to see more or less how much salt I'm going to need to add to it. It went down the wrong throat. Okay, it doesn't taste like it needs more salt, but I'm gonna give it a little bit and try it again. I'm gonna let it simmer for about 15 minutes before I test it again. Alright guys, it just lacks just a few more minutes and it is ready to go. It looks delicious. It's still pretty dang cold outside, and I'm starting to get hungry because it's already after my lunchtime. Look at that goodness. No bone yet, no bone yet. And that's, guys, is how you make a real simple menudo dish. Just with a couple ingredients: the bone, the beef feet, the menudo, the hominy with seasoning and salt. You can add a bunch of more stuff. The menudo comes out quite a bit more flavorful, adding the pepper, adding oregano, adding cumin. But this is a real nice, simple broth, simple menudo to make, especially on cold days like this. And it's kind of hard keeping this place warm without a proper heater. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe, and I'm gonna go chow down on this bowl of menudo and maybe grab another one shortly after. See you guys on the next video.